Hey there, Pisces. Welcome to your reading for the week of January 30th. We're just going to jump right in here, and we're going to take a look at your current general energies in this first row. You have this isolation and this acquisition card. I do feel that some of you, I don't even get the word isolation, and we're going to talk about that card more in just a second, but I do get this, like a feeling of missing out, or, I feel like a feeling of like not getting something that you've been working hard for. The interesting thing is I don't even, you have a lot of love showing up here, but I'm not even sure that it's love. It feels financial to me. It feels like maybe you're not getting the results that you want. What I really feel, I know what this is, Pisces. I know what this is. I feel that you feel like you have plateaued. I actually kind of get this feeling of feeling like you've peaked. Like maybe you feel like you have reached the top. And, I don't think that's true, Pisces. And here's your answer right here. This last row actually kind of provides us with an answer. And this is actually a pretty good reading, Pisces. So I wouldn't worry too much about this feeling. But again, I get this feeling here of, it's kind of like, I feel like if I put myself in your shoes, I am a Pisces, but I remove myself from these readings when I do them. And what I would say here is I get this feeling of having reached the top and feeling like there's nothing more, nothing more to accomplish, or feeling like there's nothing above me. And so it's kind of like a weird feeling here. For some of you, I do, of course, feel there's love coming in for you. Some of you could be meeting a person that you'll marry. I feel like you have to get away from this right here, which is feeling isolated. The more you feel isolated, the more isolation that you're going to attract into your life. This card here is my fancy couple card. So if you want love, this could be, kind of like a fancy person coming in for you. This is the Sun in Taurus. It could be, the thing is I know this is a weekly reading, but it could be around the Sun in Taurus time frame. And especially, I think I said to you last week that I really feel like springtime, which is going to be when we're in Taurus season. I really feel like springtime is kind of a little bit better as far as love is concerned for you. So that could be that, but it could be a Taurus. You have the Hierophant, the Nine of Wands, and the Seven of Swords here. I feel like some of you maybe dealt with lying, cheating, stealing, or a person who just had a lot of secrets or was just a liar. You even have the Moon here as well, so it could have been someone who is more manipulative. Maybe they just kept a lot of things hidden. And I feel like if you went through a situation like that, it could have done, I think it could have hurt here, Pisces. But, I feel like you've kind of healed. You haven't completely given up with the Nine of Wands. So I don't think you're ready to quit. I don't think quit is in Pisces vocabulary, right? We're like the little engine that could. We're like Thomas, right? We never give up, Pisces. So, and if you're a Pisces, then never give up, right? Because that's how Pisces ends up being successful. Literally, Pisces karma is to, part of it is to not give up and to be an inspiration to other people. And if you do that, you have the Sun, you will be very successful, right? But I kind of feel this is saying that you could be a little bit more cautious in love. We do have this, though. This is a victory, marriage. It could be with a Cancer, a Leo. Could be another Pisces. Could be an Earth sign in general. You have basically everything here. But it looks to me like you're being a little bit cautious in love. I also feel that some of you could be playing it a little bit too safe in business. And again, while you have all these marriage cards here and everything, I really feel this is about outside the box thinking. The Hierophant, I feel, is quite simply saying if you're stuck financially, then there are some things that you need to learn. The Hierophant is about learning. Sometimes I also feel that this is kind of like one of those situations where, I don't really know how to describe what I want to say here, Pisces, but sometimes I feel like we think we're doing worse, but we're actually getting better. It's kind of like the dip before the liftoff, or whatever you want to call it. So I actually think things are about to improve significantly, but right now it feels like a little bit of a dip. And, I always suggest leaving a comfort zone. I think pushing yourself, doing something a little bit more than what you normally do is a great way to get out of this. But let's see. Yeah, here you go. With the Hierophant, you have the Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords is a nightmare. Nine of Swords is having a nightmare, waking up, being stuck in a nightmare. It's like a story has to change here. And I'm pretty sure in one of your more recent readings, I was basically saying that the Nine of Swords can represent kind of like a never-ending story, or it's like your personal story that needs to change here. And maybe you're not sure, how or what to change your story on going to that Moon card, but I do feel like a story needs to come to an end. Some of you could be going through divorce as well. With the Nine of Wands, you have the Six of Cups. Again, I do feel like you have to heal from the past or release the past year with that Nine of Wands because, I definitely got that wounded warrior, traditional Nine of Wands type of feeling on the Nine of Wands. And the Six of Cups is a turnaround. Six of Cups, I see, is one of my cards where I really feel there's like a lot of opportunity with this Six of Cups if we are not trying to be a little bit too overprotective of ourselves, basically, because, normally there's the children on here, they're being guarded by a guard and they're inside some castle walls. And while it is a card of protection, being protected, it is also a card sometimes I think of maybe needing to not really leave protection behind. Of course, I would never suggest you don't be protected, but what I would say is kind of like needing to take risks, needing to put yourself out in the world and things like that. Clearly, I would also say Six of Cups with the Sun. Your inner child is going to be very important for you. So if you find yourself getting too serious, or if you find yourself worrying about things like money or, anything like that, then I think more like playful energy would be very important. With that Seven of Swords, you have the Magician. I feel like someone had a lot of secrets in your past, Pisces, or was just a liar just in general here. So some of you, it's like you could have, dealt with that. I would encourage you to, kind of like go sow your wild oats. I would encourage you to get out into the world, and I would encourage you to look for reasons as to like why that person was an anomaly, not the rule, right? It's almost like this reading is encouraging you to find an exception to something that has been a rule in your life. And the reason I say that is because we go this way, and I get a very weird feeling from this route right here, this diagonal. You go to the Four of Wands, which is like marriage, but then you have the Two of Wands. Like he's basically where he has always been. You have that Nine of Swords, which is like repeating a nightmare. So I feel like some of you have a story that needs to change. And that's what I mean by you need to, I just threw all the cards. That's what I mean by you need to like change your story here, because I feel like it's been the same for too long, or maybe you've experienced the same thing over and over and over again. Could be with a person, could be with a business, whatever. But it's starting to become a rule, and I feel like you need to break the rule so that it doesn't become a rule. I hope that makes sense. Next, we're going to look at any messages from your future self, and you have this Giraffe Spirit. It says, see the big picture. So I feel like your future self is definitely encouraging this. Again, we are entering into this Pluto and Aquarius energy in March, and, as I've said to everyone, Aquarius is the star card. I would be definitely taking a big picture view of anything that you could be dealing with, Pisces, really looking into things that interest you, things that excite you. These could be like, any hobbies, any interests, anything playful as well with the Sun. Those are going to be the things that lead to success. You have the Sun, the Four of Wands, and the Four of Swords. Again, I feel a very strong need for more happiness, more fun in your life. I feel like there is a lot of happiness coming in for you, Pisces, but, it's kind of like one of those things where I feel like there are things that you aren't doing that bring you happiness. And so if you're not doing those things, I would avoid, things that make you not happy. And I would do as much as you possibly can to make yourself more happy. I do see a lot of happiness coming in for you here as well. So there is a lot of happiness, but I would do more, or I would add more play, or I would be careful of taking things too seriously or being too serious, or kind of worrying in those, having those earthly worries, right? Where we worry about numbers, for example, or something like that. I'll just give you an example. It's like those 20-year videos I didn't do as well as I wanted. I caught myself this morning worrying about the numbers. I'm like, that wasn't the whole point of doing them in the first place. The reason I do YouTube is because it's fun for me. I don't need to do this channel. As I said, I have multiple businesses. I've explained it to people multiple times. I don't need to do this. I want to, right? That's so. I had to remind myself of that this morning. I don't do this for numbers. And, like I said, those didn't do as well, but it was an experiment. It was fun. And that's the whole point of me doing it in the first place, is that YouTube is like a playground for me. And so it's maybe you need a reminder, Pisces. Maybe you just need to realize that certain things can just be fun. They don't have to be serious, and it doesn't have to be this big, whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Hopefully that makes sense. You have the Four of Wands here. The Four of Wands, of course, could be marriage, but again, Four of Wands is my card of the finish line. You can see right here, there's kind of this finish line thing up here, and it's a card of completion. It is also another card of fun because it's a card of celebration. These people are celebrating getting married, but again, to me, it's a card of freedom. And it's kind of saying, what makes you feel free? And I feel like you need to do more of those things, like I said. You also have the Four of Swords. Four of Swords is a card of recovery, and it does look like there's some sort of healing going on in your life. I feel like this healing could be bringing more blessings into your life as well. But I need more detail on that, Pisces. So let's see what we get going on for you here. With the Sun, you have the Nine of Pentacles. Yes, I like the Nine of Pentacles, especially with the Sun, because normally there are grapes growing behind the lady on the Nine of Pentacles. And grapes in the tarot represent something that requires a lot of skill to grow. But the Sun grows good grapes. So, I kind of feel like there is a lot of abundance. There's success. I get this like peak plateau type of feeling where like I feel like you're kind of like you feel like you're at the top of something or have already experienced the top, and maybe you're afraid of going down. I don't know how else to explain it, what I feel here, Pisces, but really I feel like it's just like a step, and things are about to pick back up. I feel there's going to be a lot of reasons for you to be happy. And I feel like you're working on your independence as well. I even feel like some of you, if you don't have love, some of you could be getting to that place where you are not lonely. It's like I get this feeling of trying to kind of like, it's not like you're making yourself not lonely. I don't think you're forcing yourself to do this. I feel like it's like maybe you're doing things where you're realizing like, I don't want to enter into a relationship feeling lonely, because it's like when you enter into a relationship lonely, then you attract a lonely person, which is like not a good energy. So it's almost like I see this as energy correction. With the Four of Wands, you have the Eight of Swords here. Definitely setting yourself free, because Eight of Swords is a card of self-imposed restriction or holding yourself back. And we see that here as well. Again, everything in your reading really tells me that you need to prepare for a surprise. And I'm not trying to be clickbaity here or anything, but like he is standing at the top of his castle, and it's where he has always been, but he has the whole world in his hands. It's like there's so much more for him to experience if he gets out of his own head with the Nine of Swords and the Eight of Swords, as well as like overthinking, only seeing one way of doing things. So it's not something that's going to magically happen, as I always say, but I feel like there is a surprise in store for you, Pisces, if you kind of start thinking more fun, start having more fun, start getting a little bit more away from kind of logical. And again, as I always say, I would never suggest people don't use their logical mind, right? I'm probably, I don't know, I don't want to do my own horn, but I think I'm like one of the more logical readers. And again, I'm not criticizing any readers that aren't. I'm just saying, like, I take a very logical, grounded approach to this, right? But what I would say is I feel like that this is one of those weeks where you need to be maybe a little bit more Piscean, a little bit more fun, a little bit more kind of out there, a little bit more exploratory, With that Four of Swords, you have the Page of Pentacles. Definitely I feel like there's someone new coming in for you here, Pisces, if you want love. I feel like this person's cautious. They could be an earth sign, but you know what the funny thing is like I feel like it could be any sign. I feel like this is talking about how they're coming in. I feel like they're coming in curious, inquisitive, trying to learn about you. It's almost like they know they need to take their time as well. So could be attracting a person like that. I also have money coming in for you. Again, money seems to be improving here, Pisces, for sure. Next, we're going to look at, the unexpected. You have this card that says, give yourself some credit for how far you've come. That makes sense. You also have this investment card that says, whatever you invest in today will flourish in the future. Ensure that where you invest matches your investment goals. Again, I've been saying this for a long time that, I think investments are going to be extremely volatile this year and even into next year as well. That does not mean there isn't money to be made. I feel like we are in a time where there's more money than ever to be made in investments, but you need to do your research. Don't just invest in some random, 12-year-old who comes up with some, pizza coin or something like that, right? Do your research, number one. Number two, I feel like this is saying, sometimes, again, I think when we plateau, when things are just like this, even if it's better than where we were 3 years ago, we start to get a little complacent. Maybe we start to think why aren't things going up? And of course we want things to go up. It makes perfect sense. But again, I feel like if some of you, I'm not suggesting you live in the past, of course not. But I think if you look at the past and if you see how far you've come, I think it'll kind of maybe put things in perspective here. And the Two of Wands is a card of perspective. So you have that, the Judgment card, and the Chariot. The Two of Wands, again, is about leaving a comfort zone. He's kind of standing at the top of this castle, but he has a whole world in his hands, and he needs to get out of there. He needs to leave a comfort zone, so I would encourage you to take the lead. I feel like you need to realize that you, especially out of all the signs, you are on a journey that cannot be compared to anything else. So it's to me, Pisces with Pluto and Aquarius and Saturn moving into Pisces this year, it's you're going to be on a journey where you're going to have to face some of your fears head on. But these are not scary fears. These are good fears that are going to make you grow, make you successful, could make you famous with the Sun card, could make you money, right? All these things. But It's like everything you want is on the other side of a closed door, and it's like you don't know what's on the other side of that closed door. It reminds me, one of my favorite people of all time, Les Brown, he tells a story about like some guy who gets captured in a war, right? And there's like a captain who goes to the guy and says, you can either, go out this door over here or you can be executed tomorrow. And the guy says, what's through the door? And he says, unknown horrors. And so the guy chooses to be executed, right? And I'm paraphrasing here. But the next day after his execution, one of the guards says, like, what's through that door? And he said, freedom. So we are all very afraid of freedom, right? But I think that's what's on the other side of you kind of doing something new, doing something different in your life. You have the Judgment card here. It's like you're waking up to your true purpose here. Your true purpose isn't going to be like anyone else's as well. Again, if you're following the crowd, I feel like you're going to have a hard time. If you're doing what you want to do, scary, because maybe there's no one to compare it to, but, and again, I think I said this to you in your Pluto and Aquarius reading, it's going to be scary, and you're probably going to make a lot of mistakes. Again, those Pluto and Aquarius readings I didn't do very well, but again, when we put it into perspective, I do way better than most people, right? Not bragging, just saying, right? I should shut my mouth and be grateful, right? Number one. Number two, it was an experiment, right? And it's going to lead to more experiments. And I've been saying for years that we have to move a lot of dirt to get to the gold, right? So it's like not all our ideas are going to work, right? But the things that do are going to knock your socks off. I promise you, Pisces. So don't be afraid. Take control. Where there's a will, there's a way. Anything you want to do is possible when you take control. There might be mysteries. It does look like there's a lot of mysteries here. These two sphinxes on the chariot represent a mystery, but he can have whatever he wants. He has these stars in his canopy, these moons on his shoulders. It's as above, so below. And he can have whatever he wants. Kind of like that T.I. song, you can have whatever you like or whatever. So that's what I'm getting here with the chariot card. Definitely some sort of victory coming in for you. But again, we really have to kind of, I think, practice a certain level of confidence with the chariot because he's like grabbing control. This is a card hard control. There's two cards of control in the tarot, and the strength card is the other one, and it's a card of soft control, just like kind of, letting things happen. But it seems to me, and not that there's anything wrong with that, by the way, but again, I think that for you, it's time to take control over some sort of dream. Here you go, with the Two Wands, Four of Pentacles. There's nothing in the past for you other than, again, I think it's fine to look at the past and see some of the things you learned and some of the other things we talked about here. But the Four of Pentacles is about, again, leaving a comfort zone. He is also in alignment normally. I kind of like the Four of Pentacles because he normally has a pentacle over his head, one over his heart, and it kind of represents the fact that when your head and your heart become one, as my favorite person of all time, Greg Braden, says, then you can move mountains. So when you step into alignment and your head and your heart are kind of going the same direction, then you can move mountains. Nothing can stand in your way. And I get that feeling here. It's a super powerful reading, Pisces. It's like literally saying nothing can stand in your way. I think that you got the head part right. It's like what direction you're going in life, maybe starting business or whatever it is you're doing, doesn't matter. But I think the heart needs to come into it, which is like adding more play, adding more of your personality, adding more of you, right? But maybe it's like the fear of exposure that's getting in the way here. With the Judgment card, you have the Fool. Definitely time to take a leap of faith. You hear Pisces, I keep getting this, like, same thing. And with the Chariot, you have the Ten of Cups, fortune after difficulty, happiness. Again, this strikes me as, like, one of those moments where, like, once you take an action and once you start that new thing you're thinking about starting, once you get into that new relationship and you put yourself out there, once you get that new career, that new business, once you finally write your life's work into a book, whatever it is you want to do, doesn't matter. I feel like it's, like, ripping the Band-Aid off, but that's not even right. It's like, I think that you'll just be like, wow, like, I made that out to be such a big deal, whatever it is that you're thinking about doing, and it wasn't, right? So definitely time. Again, definitely good love if you are looking, if you want love, if you're looking for it with that Ten of Cups. I would say great time for dating, but I would also say there could be like someone you have a family with coming in. At the end here, for messages from your future self, you have this key card. It says, locked doors can now be open. And this is why you need to get a move on, because if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I'm still stuck, Two of Wands, for whatever reason, I get a little bit of a stuck feeling there, Eight of Swords, Nine of Swords, then you're not going to move forward. This is why we need to constantly be moving forward. And, this is why I always encourage people to do new things, because it's like you never know when you're just going to land on that right thing, right? And also, you never know when you're going to land on freedom, clearly, which is what this reading is saying. That locked door, it might seem like it's unknown horrors to you, but really it's freedom. It's everything you want. With the this row here, you have the Moon, the Knight of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles. Definitely time to get to work on anything that you're thinking on working on. The Knight of Pentacles is, he's being too cautious. He's playing it safe. So I feel it's not time to play it safe. I do feel that you could have a person that's like this coming in for you. Again, it might not be now. I kind of feel springtime. But again, take it how it resonates. It might be now. I feel like this person's a little cautious, but maybe because you're being cautious, not calling out. And again, I actually think this will work out fine. So I don't think there's anything, I don't think there's anything wrong with this. The other thing I would say is it's time to plant seeds in these fields. There's clearly something big that you want to do. And there's clearly like fear or worries attached to it, not being sure if you're going to be right, not being sure if you're going in the right direction. It's like all those things. And really, I feel like this reading is obviously encouraging you to take the risk with the Fool, take the leap of faith, because you will be very, very successful. And I feel like your future self is encouraging you to kind of release your emotional armor. This right here, this lobster, it's wearing armor. And lobsters, I don't know if you've ever seen one on land, but they don't do very well on land. And it's a card that kind of represents needing to release your emotional armor so you can get to these mountains down here. Mountains represent achievements in the tarot. So I feel like some of you, it's not about not protecting yourself, but maybe it's about kind of being open emotionally so that you can be successful. You have the King of Pentacles. Definitely could be a Taurus, because you have Taurus here like 3 times at least, right? So could be a Taurus. Could also just be your finances improving, because, again, I do feel like there's some sort of financial improvement, but I get the very distinct feeling that it's like right in front of you, but it's like you could be not taking action because things have not been working, right? So I would take action is what this is saying, especially if you have thoughts, and I think you could be getting thoughts and things like that. With the Moon, you have the Two of Pentacles, another symbol of like needing more fun. Two of Pentacles is work hard, play hard, but it's also a card of taking things too seriously sometimes, I feel. So I feel this is saying like, hey, you might be working, you might be super logical this week. I would put a little bit more heart, a little bit more fun, a little bit more entertainment, a little bit of Pisces razzle dazzle, whatever you want to call it. I would do it because that's where the success is coming. Also, again, I love the Two of Pentacles for money. With the Knight of Pentacles, you have the Eight of Wands, quick success coming in. Definitely communication could be coming in for you as well. I do feel like there's important communication about money coming in for you here also. It's like an opportunity. It's only going to be for some of you. I feel like there could be an opportunity financially. Like maybe someone offers you to do some work for them or something along those lines. I think it would be worth it. Other than that, I feel like there's quick movement coming in for you. Again, I feel like you're going to be surprised at how quickly things are going to move forward for you if you're starting something new. It reminds me, it's like I've had a bunch of businesses in my young life. And it's like every single time when I first started, I had a bunch of failures. And a success, a big success, and then a major failure. But it's always been interesting to me. That's like every time I've started something new, it takes me about half the time. It's like my first business, I don't know, it took me from like 16 to 21 to be like super successful. And from there, then the next one was like, no time. It was much, much shorter, right? So many years less. And I kind of get that feeling. I'm telling you this for a reason, because I get that feeling for you here where it's like, maybe this is happening to you in relationships. Maybe each relationship gets a little bit better, but it's like by half. And I don't know if that math adds up, Pisces, but I think this like next thing you're getting into is like perfect. It's going to be really good. Same thing financially as well. It's like something is taking you less time, but it's not happening quickly necessarily. I think it's happening fast because really you've gained a bunch of knowledge. So that's why things are happening faster. With the King of Pentacles, you have these 6 wands. Yeah, definitely success coming in for you at this time. And some achievements as well. So I feel like you could be achieving some really, really great things here, Pisces. We're going to do like a personalish reading here, Pisces. I'm going to pull 3 yes or no question cards. If you have a question, or 3, you can ask up to 3 yes or no questions. 1, 2, 3. Feel free to pause and ask your questions. If you don't have a question, that's fine too. I'm going to put all 3 cards together at the end, and we're going to do like a personalish reading. So for question number 1, I would say yes, of course. You have the Ace of Cups. Definitely could be love. If you're asking about love, I would definitely say yes. For question number 2, I would say no. 10 of Swords. Something is dead, done, over with. I feel like there are new blessings coming in here. It's like something has to be let go of so something new can be reborn is what I'm getting. And finally, you have the 9 of Cups. Yes, definitely wish fulfillment coming in for you. For any of you who have ended something here. I feel like there's something new coming in, like a new blessing as far as love is concerned. I definitely feel like this round around situation is coming to an end as well in your life, Pisces. So you're like moving forward to new things. I would also focus on fulfillment. Again, if you're not, even if you are looking for love, but if you're not looking for love, both these cards to me represent like really focusing on your own personal fulfillment, feeling fulfilled, being fulfilled, doing things that make you happy. That's like what I would be doing here, Pisces, with these 3 cards, minus the Ten of Swords. But this looks really good. So thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Make sure to watch your sun, moon, and rising for a full picture of what's going on for you at this time. But thank you, and definitely enjoy your week.